The hospital waiting room was stark and quiet until a sharp burst of laughter sliced through the air, drawing curious glances my way. I stepped into an alcove, pressing the phone tighter to my ear. "Ethan, what are you saying?" "You heard me, Clara," my husband replied, his tone breezy and smug. "After 26 years of marriage, I'm done. I've emptied our accounts, checking, savings, investments, all of it, and I'm heading to Miami. Good luck with your clingy mother." My hands shook as I gripped the phone, but I kept my voice even. "I see," I said, glancing through the window as doctors wheeled my sedated mother toward the operating room. "I need to go. Mom's surgery is starting." Naturally, Ethan scoffed. "That woman's health has always trumped our marriage. Have fun with the bills." The call ended abruptly. I slid the phone into my pocket, took a steadying breath, and returned to the waiting area. The neurosurgeon had been up front. Mom's condition wasn't fatal, but without this procedure, her stroke recovery would stall. It wasn't cheap, even with insurance, and I'd counted on dipping into our joint savings Ethan had just drained. My name's Clara Hensley, 49, an accounting manager at a mid-sized Chicago publisher. I'd built our financial security after years of propping Ethan up. Law school, job switches, a crashed business venture. We never had kids. Ethan didn't want them, so I channeled my care into my career and, lately, my mother. Since Dad passed 3 years ago, Ethan had grumbled about the time I spent with her, especially after her stroke 4 months back. "She's playing you," he'd say. "She could do more if she tried." His coldness had strained us, but I never thought he'd pull this, especially not now, mid-hospital crisis. At the nurse's station, my mind spun. "Excuse me, has my mother, Evelyn Ramsey, gone into surgery yet?" "Yes, just now," the nurse answered gently. "It'll be about 4 hours. Anyone here with you?" "No," I said simply. "I'm on my own." Settling into a stiff chair, I opened my banking app, hoping Ethan had exaggerated. The numbers didn't lie. Checking at 437, savings zeroed out, and our investment account over $300,000 yesterday, now inaccessible. What Ethan didn't know, and what the nurse couldn't see, was that his call hadn't blindsided me as much as he'd think. For 2 months, I'd been watching, waiting, preparing. The only shock was his timing, and that he hadn't yet grasped who he was dealing with. We'd met senior year of college. Ethan, the charming pre-law star, lit up every room. I, the practical accounting major, somehow caught his eye at a friend's party. Opposites worked for us early on. My stability grounded his flair, his energy tugged me out of my shell. Marriage started rocky but hopeful. I took an entry-level job while Ethan studied law, pinching pennies to keep us afloat. Kids were postponed until he settled, but his interest faded entirely over time. I adjusted, pouring myself into our finances and his dreams. Those dreams cost us dearly. 3 years into a solid law firm gig, he quit. Corporate law wasn't his calling. He joined a small environmental practice, slashing his pay. I backed him. 5 years later, he ditched law to launch a consultancy that tanked after 18 months, burning nearly $100,000 of our savings. Through it all, I was the rock, the steady earner, the planner, pulling us back from each stumble. When Dad died, leaving Mom shattered and showing early dementia, Ethan seemed supportive at first, but as her stroke hit and my duties grew, his bitterness flared. "She'll bleed us dry," he'd argue about her surgery. "We're nearing retirement, Clara. We should be planning our future, not her bills." I'd point out we had the funds, but he'd only dig in harder. Looking back, the signs were glaring. His sudden curiosity about our investments, probing for passwords, late nights hiding his screen. 6 weeks ago, I spotted logins from an odd device, then browser searches, Florida retirement spots, divorce-friendly states. The clincher? A hushed call I overheard. "She's clueless. We'll have time to sort it all." I didn't want to believe it. We'd faced so much together. But I prepared anyway. 2 weeks before Mom's surgery, a migraine sent me home early. Ethan's car was there, though he should have been at work. Slipping in quietly, I heard him in our office, door ajar, on a video call. "Clara's in the dark," he chuckled. "I've got everything. Accounts, investments, even her dad's inheritance." A woman's voice replied, "You sure the timing's right?" "I don't want delays." "Perfect," he said. Her mom's surgery's the 15th. Claire'll be distracted. I'll move it all that morning and be with you by afternoon. Out of the country by month's end. I retreated to my car, betrayal sinking in. 26 years and he'd planned this with another woman, time to hit while I was at mom's side. Shock turned to focus. At a coffee shop, tea untouched, I listed my moves. Ethan had account access, but not to the $50,000 I'd stashed in a new account after those weird logins. Enough for mom's care and a buffer. My forensic accounting skills meant I could track his every step. That night, I acted normal, hiding my discovery. He pecked my cheek, asked about my headache, and watched TV like he wasn't plotting my ruin. I'm worried about mom's surgery, I said, testing him. It'll be tough. Don't stress, he mumbled, eyes averted. It'll work out. His calm, knowing his real plan, steeled me. Next morning, I'd call my bank, a security firm, and, crucially, Lydia Harper, Chicago's top divorce lawyer. After Ethan left for work, I called in sick, first time in years, and got to it. Lydia listened coolly as I explained. This is premeditated fraud, she said. We need to move fast but smart. Evidence first. Without it, it's he said, she said. She laid out a plan. Cameras in the office, account logs, proof of his affair, legal traps for when he acted. Don't tip him off, she warned. Let him think he's winning. For a week, I played my part, cooking, chatting, while setting the stage. Tiny cameras caught his plotting calls. A forensic accountant traced our funds, proving I'd earned most of it. A PI pegged the woman. Sabrina Holt, 38. Ethan's ex-client and lover for 8 months. I flagged our accounts for alerts, unable to block him yet, but ready to document everything. Waiting was brutal. Each night, I slept beside a man scheming my downfall, his smugness blinding him to my silence. 3 days before surgery, the PI found more. A Miami apartment under an LLC, plane tickets for him and Sabrina, offshore accounts in the Caymans. It was close. That night, Ethan probed about mom's surgery, hospital, timing, feigning care. I wish I could be there, he lied. Denver meetings locked in. No meeting existed. His Miami flight was booked. I understand, I said, squeezing his hand. Work matters. The night before, I lay awake, triple-checking with Lydia. Bank on alert, funds secured, filings ready, except for one thing, hard proof of intent. Cameras had snippets, but nothing airtight. Get him to admit it, Lydia urged. A text, a call, anything clear. He'd been too cagey so far. At dawn, with mom's surgery at 9 a.m., I headed to the hospital, trusting my groundwork. I didn't know Ethan would soon hand me the key himself. Mom looked frail but resolute as they prepped her. You'll be here when I wake up, she asked, voice shaky. Always, I promised, holding her hand. In the waiting room, I checked my phone. No alerts yet. Maybe he'd wait till I was tied up. Then at 10:17 a.m., Ethan called. How's your mom? He asked, too casual. In surgery, I said. Everything okay? A beat then. Actually, Clara, I've got news. My pulse spiked, but I stayed steady. What's that? I've cleared our accounts and I'm off to Miami. Good luck with your needy mom. His laugh was vicious. 26 years and I'm free. Everything's gone. Checking, savings, investments. I earned this. His cruelty, mom in surgery, him gloating, hit hard, but I stuck to Lydia's script. I understand. You took it all while I'm here? Every cent, he bragged. Done already. You're in Miami now? South Beach, celebrating with Sabrina. Don't bother looking. The condo's not in my name. Why, Ethan? Because I can, he sneered. I'm done with your dull, dutiful life. This is my reward for wasting years on you and your mom. He hung up. I saved the recording and texted Lydia. It's done. He called, confessed it all. She replied instantly. Perfect. Filing now. Focus on your mom. Relief hit, then calm. As Ethan toasted his win, Lydia froze our accounts with the evidence. His call, the crown jewel. His arrogance had sealed it. 3 hours later, the surgeon confirmed mom's success. My phone buzzed. Accounts locked. Funds reverting to escrow. Judge appalled, Lydia texted. We've got him. In mom's recovery room, she slept. Monitors beeping steadily. Updates rolled in, assets frozen, offshore transfers halted, even the condo LLC tagged. Around midnight, a Miami number called. "Is this Clara Hensley?" a tense woman snapped. "Yes, who's this?" "Sabrina Holt. Ethan says you froze our money." "My money," I corrected. "He stole it during my mom's brain surgery." "Did he mention I bankrolled our life? His flops, his dreams, while he lied to us both?" Her silence spoke volumes. "It's frozen for a hearing," I said. "If you're in it for cash, good luck." "This is insane," she sputtered. "He said you're spiteful, but this—" "Spiteful?" I cut in, voice cracking. "My mom's post-surgery, my husband of 26 years, emptied our accounts and laughed. Protecting myself isn't spite." Ethan grabbed the phone. "Clara, what the hell?" "Exactly what a dutiful wife you use does," I said. "Accounts frozen, cards dead, condo flagged. Maybe Sabrina can float you. I'm sure it's love, not money." "You planned this," he yelled. "You knew." "Yes, Ethan. Weeks of footage, every move tracked. Keep talking. It's gold for Lydia." He went quiet, realization dawning. "One more thing. Lydia Harper's calling tomorrow. Get a lawyer." I hung up. 3 days later, as Mom moved to rehab, a courier brought Lydia's packet. Orders, recovered funds, divorce filings citing Ethan's fraud and abandonment. Miami Sheriff's affidavit noted his distress at being served. The judge's ruling, citing his callous timing, released $75,000 to me for Mom's care. That night, Sabrina texted, "Hotel demands payment. Ethan's card failed. Help?" I forwarded it to Lydia. Ethan called. I blocked him. He wasn't laughing now. 6 months later in court, Ethan looked diminished, his third lawyer defeated. "Given his misconduct, your contributions, and the marriage's length, the judge awarded me 85% of assets, plus legal fees." His call had sunk him. Outside, I breathed free. That night at Mom's apartment, she asked, "How do you feel?" "Ready," I said, clinking her glass. "For a fresh start." She smiled. "Your best yet." Ethan thought he'd broken me. Instead, he'd freed me.